If you want 2026 to look different, you cannot keep living the same. This is the year you stop negotiating with weakness. This is the year you stop explaining your potential to people who benefit from your doubt. If you keep these three habits, 2026 will humble you. If you remove them, it will reward you. Choose now, because time is not waiting and life is not forgiving. You scroll without intention. You absorb without direction. You consume ideas, opinions, motivation, and entertainment until your mind feels busy, but your life stays the same. That is not growth. That is distraction disguised as progress. Consumption without creation quietly robs you of self-trust, because every time you watch someone else build, lead, or rise, a part of you learns to stay seated. You don't lose confidence overnight. You surrender it inch by choosing comfort over contribution. Creation is the difference between power and passivity. When you create, you engage your mind, your discipline, and your identity. You stop being an observer of other people's courage and become a participant in your own evolution. Creation forces clarity. It sharpens decision making. It builds self-respect because effort always leaves evidence. And the world does not reward potential. It rewards proof. In 2026, people who only consume will feel overwhelmed, anxious, and replaceable. Those who create will feel grounded, valuable, and ahead. Look closely at your time. The hours disappear, yet nothing concrete exists because of them. No improved skill, no stronger body, no deeper mastery, no asset, just more information layered on top of inaction. Information without application breeds frustration. It makes you feel behind even when you're technically informed. That inner tension, the feeling that you should be further along, is the cost of consuming without building. It's not lack of talent holding you back, it's lack of output. Creation does not require perfection, it requires commitment. You don't need the best equipment, the perfect plan, or full confidence. Those come after you start, not before. Every meaningful transformation begins with imperfect action taken consistently. When you create daily, even something small, you rewire your identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone preparing to begin and start seeing yourself as someone in motion. Momentum is born from movement, not motivation. The world is shifting faster than ever. Attention is currency, skill is leverage, and execution is everything. Those who create gain visibility, credibility, and options. Those who only consume become dependent on trends, opinions, and external validation. Creation makes you resilient. It gives you something no algorithm can take away: capability. When you can produce value, you cannot be ignored for long. When you cannot, you are at the mercy of circumstances. If you want 2026 to reward you, your days must leave fingerprints. Create before you consume. Build before you scroll. Produce before you react. Let your mornings belong to your future, not to other people's highlight reels. When you choose creation, you choose ownership. And ownership is the moment life stops happening to you and starts responding to you. You keep explaining yourself because a part of you is still asking for permission. Permission to grow, permission to change, permission to outgrow rooms that once felt comfortable. Every explanation is a quiet confession that you're still negotiating with your own certainty. Strong direction never needs a defense. The moment you feel compelled to justify your decisions, you hand your power to people who are not living your life and will not carry the consequences of your choices. Explaining yourself keeps you anchored to the past version of you, the version people recognize, the version they are comfortable with. When you start evolving, some people feel threatened, not because you are wrong, but because your growth exposes their stagnation. They ask questions disguised as concern, and you mistake them for curiosity. You answer politely, hoping to be understood, not realizing that clarity was never their goal. comfort was, and every explanation you give is an invitation for them to vote on your future. Silence, on the other hand, is a declaration of self-trust. It says you no longer need external confirmation to validate. Internal alignment. When you stop explaining, you conserve energy. You sharpen focus. You move faster. Results replace conversations. Consistency replaces persuasion. The most grounded people are not loud about their direction. They are steady. And steady people are dangerous because they cannot be shaken by opinion or slowed by doubt. There is a difference between communication and justification. Communication builds connection. Justification leaks confidence. In 2026, the world will reward those who move with quiet conviction. People who explain everything often feel busy but go nowhere. People who move without commentary create momentum that speaks for them. When your actions align with your values, there is nothing to explain. Those who understand will recognize it. Those who don't were never meant to follow. Letting go of the need to explain feels uncomfortable at first. It triggers old fears, being misunderstood, judged, or rejected. But growth always requires you to risk being misread. You cannot evolve and remain familiar at the same time. When you choose direction over approval, you reclaim authority over your life. You stop performing for comfort and start acting from truth. And truth doesn't argue, it stands. In 2026, decide to let your life speak. Move with intention, build quietly, set boundaries without speeches, elevate without announcements. The people who matter will adjust. The ones who don't were only attached to the version of you that was easier to control. You don't owe anyone an explanation for becoming who you are meant to be. Alignment is enough. Results will handle the rest. Most people think their problem is lack of motivation. It's not. The real issue is allowing emotions to sit in the driver's seat. When feelings dictate action, life becomes unpredictable. Strong one day, invisible the next. You feel inspired, you start, then emotion shifts, and momentum collapses. That cycle is not bad luck. It's self-betrayal repeated so often it feels normal. Emotional decision-making doesn't just slow progress, it quietly trains you to distrust yourself. Emotions are real, but they are not reliable leaders. They rise and fall based on sleep, stress, opinion, and circumstance. If your discipline depends on how you feel, your future becomes fragile. One uncomfortable moment can derail weeks of effort. One bad day can rewrite your identity. People who live this way stay busy resetting instead of building. They keep restarting chapters they never finish, wondering why consistency feels so hard. Discipline is not intensity. It's loyalty. Loyalty to the version of you that made the decision before the emotion arrived. Structure exists to protect you from yourself on days when your mind looks for exits. Systems outperform willpower every time because they remove negotiation. When something is scheduled, tracked, and non-optional, emotion loses leverage. You stop asking, "Do I feel like it?" and start asking, "What's next?" That shift changes everything. In 2026, success will belong to those who operate from principle, not impulse. People who train their response instead of indulging their reaction. Emotional control is not suppression, it's direction. You feel the emotion, acknowledge it, then act according to your long-term standard. That's maturity. That's power. Anyone can act when it's easy. Leaders act when it's uncomfortable, inconvenient, and unseen. The uncomfortable truth is this: your emotions will often try to protect you from growth. Growth requires pressure, uncertainty, and repetition. Emotion wants relief. Discipline wants progress. When you choose relief too often, you delay the life you say you want. But when you commit to action regardless of mood, something changes internally. You build self-respect. And self-respect creates confidence that doesn't collapse when conditions shift. If you want 2026 to be different, your decisions must be pre-made. Decide who you are before the emotion arrives. Decide what you do on tired days, distracted days, discouraged days. When the rules are clear, execution becomes automatic. Emotion becomes information, not instruction. That is how momentum is protected. That is how trust with yourself is rebuilt. And when you can trust yourself, no external circumstance can stop you. Comfort feels harmless because it doesn't announce its damage. It whispers, it settles in slowly, it convinces you that staying where you are is maturity, that avoiding strain is wisdom, that routine without challenge is stability. But comfort is not peace, it is postponement. It keeps you just satisfied enough to stop reaching, just distracted enough to stop questioning why your potential feels underused. Nothing powerful grows in environments designed to keep you relaxed. When comfort stays too close, ambition weakens. You start choosing what's familiar over what's necessary. You repeat patterns because they're predictable, not because they're effective. The mind adapts quickly to ease, and once it does, resistance feels offensive. The smallest challenge feels like pressure. The slightest discomfort feels like a threat. That is how people slowly shrink without realizing it, by avoiding friction instead of developing strength. Growth demands exposure to difficulty. Pressure is not the enemy, it is the conditioner. Muscles don't strengthen without resistance. Character doesn't sharpen without responsibility. Confidence doesn't deepen without risk. Every meaningful expansion in your life will require you to stay present in moments you'd rather escape. Comfort tries to pull you away from those moments early, before the lesson is learned, before the breakthrough arrives. In 2026, the people who separate themselves will not be the most talented. They will be the most willing to sit in discomfort longer than others. Willing to learn when it's frustrating, willing to train when it's boring, willing to lead when it's lonely. Comfort produces sameness. Discomfort produces distinction. And distinction is where opportunity lives. Staying close to comfort often looks responsible on the surface. You avoid risk, you play it safe, you wait for certainty. But certainty never comes before growth, it comes from it. Waiting to feel ready is how years disappear. Courage is not confidence, it's movement despite uncertainty. The moment you stop choosing ease, you start reclaiming momentum. You stop asking what feels good and start asking what builds capacity. If you want 2026 to mark a turning point, you must increase your tolerance for discomfort. Seek challenges that stretch you. Put yourself in rooms where you're not the best. Choose responsibilities that force you to grow into them. Comfort will always be available. Strength must be earned. Step toward what demands more of you. That's where your next level is waiting. The need to be liked is one of the most expensive habits you will ever carry. It looks harmless, even kind, but it quietly drains your authority. When being liked becomes a priority, truth becomes negotiable. You soften your words, dilute your standards, and hesitate when action is required. You begin living in response to reactions instead of convictions. And over time, you forget that you were never designed to be agreeable. You were designed to be aligned. Approval is addictive because it feels like safety. It tells you that you belong, that you won't be rejected, that you won't stand alone. But that safety is fragile. The people who like you today can turn tomorrow the moment your growth disrupts their comfort. When your direction threatens their expectations, liking evaporates. If your identity depends on it, so does your confidence. That's how people become controlled without chains, by the fear of disapproval. Trying to be liked forces you to betray small truths first. You say yes when you mean no. You stay quiet when you should speak. You tolerate behavior that costs you self-respect because confrontation feels risky. Those compromises accumulate, they harden into resentment, and resentment eventually turns inward. You don't just feel unseen by others, you feel unseen by yourself. That internal fracture is far more damaging than any external rejection. Respect is built differently than likability. Respect comes from consistency, clarity, and courage. It comes from standing firm even when it's uncomfortable. People may not always agree with you, but they trust you. And trust carries weight. In 2026, likability will not move markets, lead teams, or change lives. Respect will. Respect opens doors that approval never could, because it's rooted in substance, not sentiment. Letting go of the need to be liked will cost you something, and that's the point. You will lose shallow connections. You will disappoint people who benefited from your silence. You will be misunderstood by those who only knew the version of you that made things easy. But what you gain is immeasurable. You gain clarity. You gain backbone. You gain the freedom to act without checking the emotional temperature of the room. If you want 2026 to elevate you, choose integrity over popularity every time. Speak with honesty. Set boundaries without apology. Lead with principle, not permission. Some people will walk away, and that is not failure, that is filtration. You were never meant to be liked by everyone. You were meant to be respected by yourself. And once you have that, nothing anyone thinks can take your power away. Nothing in your life shifts until you decide it does. Not insight, not intention, not desire. Decision is the dividing line between people who change and people who stay inspired but stuck. You can listen to the strongest words, feel the deepest emotion, and still return to the same patterns if a decision is never made. Clarity without commitment is entertainment. Decision is where identity is locked in and excuses lose their grip. Most people delay decision because it feels final. Deciding means cutting off alternatives, and that scares the part of you that wants to keep options open. But undecided living is not freedom, it's paralysis. When you don't choose a direction, life chooses one for you, usually the path of least resistance. Time moves forward whether you do or not, and hesitation quietly compounds into regret. Decision doesn't trap you, it activates you. A real decision is not emotional, it's structural. It changes behavior, environment, and standards. If nothing in your if it adjusts after you decide, you didn't decide, you considered. Decision reorganizes priorities, it redraws boundaries, it makes certain behaviors non-negotiable. The moment you truly decide, your calendar shifts, your circle adjusts, and your excuses start to sound weak even to you. That's how you know it's real. In 2026, the gap between people will not be intelligence or opportunity. It will be decisiveness. The world rewards those who move with clarity and consistency. Momentum belongs to those who stop waiting for confidence and start acting from commitment. Confidence follows execution, not the other way around. When you decide and act, even imperfectly, you send a signal to yourself and to life that you are serious. And seriousness attracts results. Decision also simplifies. It reduces mental noise. When standards are clear, you stop negotiating with yourself daily. You conserve energy that was once wasted on indecision. Instead of asking, "Should I?" you ask, "How do I?" That shift alone can change the speed of your life. Focus sharpens when you eliminate internal debate. You stop leaking power through hesitation and start channeling it through action. If you want 2026 to be your turning point, decide fully and act immediately. Decide who you are becoming, what you tolerate, and what you no longer entertain. Decide once so you don't have to decide again every morning. Life responds to clarity. The future bends toward those who move with certainty. Make the decision and let everything else fall in line. 2026 is not waiting to be convinced. It will meet you exactly where your standards stop. If you carry the same habits, you will carry the same outcomes. But if you remove what weakens you and commit to what sharpens you, everything changes. This is not about motivation, it's about identity. Decide who you are now, move like it every day, and let time do the rest. The future doesn't reward intention, it rewards action. Step forward. Your moment is already here.